If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world. Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
Welcome back to another episode of Player Performance. I am J.A. Cavalier. We're going to get you set up here for NFL Week 11. All you need to know to beat the book. But first, let's recap Week 10 with Tessa Hall.
Back it up. One more time.
All right, let's see that again.
Here's your NFL Week 10 recap. Oh, crap. The Chiefs are back. They demolished the Raiders in a way that puts the league on notice. The NFL makes no sense. The Dolphins beat the Ravens, and there is truly no singular powerhouse. The Titans were almost victim to a crushing upset, but narrowly pulled out the win against New Orleans. The Bills are back. They just needed to face the Jets to drop another 40 points. In what was the ugliest game of the year, the Lions and Steelers were awarded no win. Carson Wentz almost threw another game away, but the Colts just survived the Jags. In another episode of The NFL Makes No Sense, Washington beat Tampa. Baker is like Jekyll and Hyde. This week it was all bad news against the Pats. The Cowboys didn't like what Denver did, so they mercilessly beat the Falcons. Cam Newton knew 2 plays. They were both touchdowns. The Panthers knock off the Cards. The Chargers get our hopes up, then crush them down the next week in a consistent cycle at this point. Russell Wilson may have trained 20 hours a day to get back from a finger injury, but he got blanked by the Packers. Seriously, make it make sense. The Broncos killed Dallas at home, then get beaten at home by Philly? And in our final episode of The NFL Doesn't Make Sense, the Niners crushed the Rams. That's your NFL Week 10 recap.
So all picks and leans on this show last week, 3-3, released 6 picks, didn't really release a top play, just released the 6 picks. Look, full transparency, I liked the card, ended up splitting out, losing a little bit of juice, but they go where you hit them. This week, we're going to hit them long and straight. So here we go. We are locked. We are loaded. We are ready to roll. Jump on the money train. We are pulling out right into NFL Week 11.
Jaguars at 49ers.
Niners are laying 6.5. The total here is set at 45.5. So the 49ers found their groove last week. They shut down a top 3 offense in the Rams. Now they get the Jacksonville Jaguars, almost like they're rewarded. After a team plays a really good team, it seems like they come back this season more than ever and play a really bad team. They're facing a 31st ranked total offense team, 24th in passing. The total here is set at 45.5, and I actually love the under in this spot. The Niners put on a masterclass on defense last week. They held the Rams to 10 points. More important was how long they held the ball. Long running drives, just ran the ball. The fewest they've scored all year for the Rams. Stafford was picked off twice. Henderson rushed for just 31 yards. The Niners were able to pressure Stafford, got to him 11 times, sacked him twice. They caused 5 turnovers in that game, or at least 5 turnover-worthy plays. So how the hell is Trevor Lawrence supposed to play any better than Stafford did last week? I mean, it's not hard to see what makes Lawrence struggle. He's been knocked down 32 times. That's the 10th most in the NFL. He's been pressured 37 times. That's the 8th most in the NFL. The Niners just proved that it worked for them last week against L.A. Lawrence has a QBR of 34.9. That's 29th in the NFL. He isn't going to wow anyone in this game, especially against a pass defense that ranks 6th in the NFL. What the Niners do best offensively is run the ball, take time off the clock, keep the clock ticking. They pretty much dominate time of possession. Jacksonville has a respectable 11th ranked defense. I certainly expect the Niners to score some points in this spot, but Jacksonville has held its opponents to an average of 20 points in the last 4 games. The under is hit in 7 of the Jags' last 8 games. Together, these teams are averaging just over 20 points combined. Give me the under 45.5.
Saints at Eagles.
Eagles are laying 1.5, and the total here is set at 43.5. So as most of you know, I've been on The Fanatic for years. It's a radio station in Philadelphia. And this game was actually requested by one of my followers from Pennsylvania. So here it is. I couldn't really find a side that I actually liked. However, I do like the total. And this is one of the lowest totals in Week 11. And it really does have underwritten all over it. Saints and Eagles both struggling to score points. Saints were always a run-first team, like to set up the play-action pass for down the field, little slants to Michael Thomas, dump the ball out of the backfield to Kamara. Now they've been doing it more out of necessity than game plan since Trevor Siemian's been in. But the real reason why I'm crushing the under in this spot, Jalen Hurts. He's really good against average defenses, but he's terrible against the best ones. They've played 5 top 15 defenses this season. In just one of those games, they've scored more than 22 points. That was last week against the Denver Broncos, a team without Von Miller, a team without a starting linebacker, a team without a starting safety, and really banged up in the secondary. In that game, Philadelphia was able to establish the run. Jordan Howard, Boston Scott went for a combined 160 yards. That's not going to happen this week against the Saints. The Saints are the number 1 rushing defense in the league. They allowed just 72 on the ground per game. In the last 3 games, they've allowed 66, 34, and 71 rushing yards. Hurts is going to need to do it with his arm, and I really don't see that happening in this spot. Eagles offense much better last 3 weeks, but do the math. That's because they had to keep Hurts' attempts down. So Hurts, much like Baker Mayfield, keep him in check, run the ball, play off of running the ball. Hurts threw the ball a whopping 54 times in 3 games combined. He's 19th in yards, 19th in QBR, 17th in touchdowns. The Saints haven't broken more than 25 in 2 weeks either, 0-2 with Simeon. And that Falcons loss looks a lot worse today than it did back then, doesn't it? They may score some points here, but not enough to threaten this total. And look, the Eagles have been sneaky good against the run. They rank 13th in the league. So both of these teams are going to try to establish the run. That's going to keep the clock ticking. The under's also 4-2 last 6 meetings head-to-head. I like the under in this spot. Give me the under 43.5.
J.A. Cavalier's Pro Football Triple Crown. 3 NFL games for this Sunday. 3 straight, 3 2-team parlays, 1 week, $99. His Pro Football Triple Crown must go 3-0 or the entire NFL season is free. J.A. Cavalier's Pro Football Triple Crown. Link in the description below. Click the link now and jump on the money train.
The football team at Panthers.
Carolina's laying 3. The total here is set at 43. So 65% of the spread bets, 99% of the money line bets are all coming in, hammering the Carolina Panthers, hammering Cam Newton in his return. He's back. He's going to be treated like a king. Look, I actually feel bad for Washington getting him in this spot. I am on the Carolina Panthers. I'm just going to lay the 3. No reason to add the vig or add the juice. Taking a money line. I like Carolina in this spot. I will lay the field goal. Panthers and Washington both coming off their best wins of the year, but very different wins, weren't they? Carolina beat down arguably the best team in the league. Washington beat a Tampa Bay team that's struggling as of late, played their worst game of the season. Listen, those 2 early interceptions by Brady kind of set the tone for the rest of the day, but what Carolina did, pure domination. Cam is the spark plug they needed, but anything's an upgrade from Sam Darnold. For me, the biggest key right now, Christian McCaffrey. When Christian McCaffrey's in the lineup, the Carolina Panthers just win games. Panthers needed him back. They got him back, and they got 161 total yards last week from him. Washington just lost the heart and soul of their defense. They lost Chase Young for the season. That's a defense that's currently ranked 26th. I mean, the difference a season makes in the NFL is just ridiculous. McCaffrey and Newton can easily go for 150 yards rushing in this game. Where this game is going to separate itself for me is on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think Washington's going to have an answer, but I do know what I'm going to get from the Carolina Panthers. I expect them to lock down Washington. They rank first against the pass. Taylor Heineke is as inconsistent as they come. He ranks 26th in QBR, 29th in turnovers, 9th in interceptions. This Carolina defense ranks 9th in turnover takeaways. In the last 4 games, Carolina is allowing an average of 18 points per game. In their 1 game with Cam, facing the 4th best defense in the league, the Carolina Panthers put up 34 points easily. That was the most points any team has scored against Arizona all season. Yeah, I get Kyler Murray's been out, but nothing on the defensive side of the ball to allow the 34 points. Washington's just 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games. Carolina has covered in 2 of their last 3. Get this line before the Sharps move it up a little bit further. I like it at 3. I would actually still like it at 3.5. I see no reason to back the money line in this spot. I actually think Carolina is going to win this game by a touchdown or better.
Packers at Vikings.
Packers laying 2.5. The total here is set at 49. So this is exactly what we wanted to see, a division rivalry game. Here it is. Aaron Rodgers gets to face the Minnesota Vikings in Week 11. Green Bay on the road is 2.5-point favorites, and I am in love with the over in this spot. I actually really like the over. I'm going to call this my top play on the show this week. Over 49 points, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings. I expect the Vikings to set the tone at home. They're racking up the points as of late over the last 4 games, averaging 27 points per game. Of course, led on the ground by Dalvin Cook. Vikings ranked 9th in the NFL, rushing 122 yards per game. Minnesota has rushed for over 100 yards in 5 straight games, and Green Bay has allowed more than 107 yards on the ground per game, ranks 13th in the league. Believe it or not, Kirk Cousins, by the numbers, strictly by the numbers, top 10 in most passing categories. And they're going to need it this week, especially when you're facing Aaron Rodgers on the other side. And look, take away the last 2 games. Rodgers out. Jordan Love looked like trash against the Kansas City Chiefs. Returned last week, and that first game back is always a quarterback struggle spot. So prior to that, the Packers had scored 24 points or more in 6 straight games. Most of those pushed their team total over 24, averaging 27.5 points per game. The Vikings have a defense that's 28th against the rush, 28th in total plays allowed. A.J. Dillon coming into his own right now. He went for 66 yards, 2 touchdowns as a backup last week. He's going to get the start here this week, and he should have himself a day, especially against the Vikings. They allow 130 on the ground per game. Points are going to be scored in this game. Even if they don't come in chunk plays, the run game is going to wear down both defenses, and I expect a shootout in the second half. Both of these teams, if you just go by their averages alone, you're looking at around 53, 54 points in this game. Give me the over. My top play this week, way over the posted total of 49, Green Bay, Minnesota.
Day, week, month, and season packages available on whylose.com. That's the letter Y, LOSE.com.
That's right, guys. Get to whylose.com. That's the letter Y, LOSE.com. Something for everyone on whylose.com. This week I had to keep it short and simple. It was either that or not doing a show at all, and I couldn't leave you guys hanging. So here was a happy medium. Gave you guys 4 free picks. Of course, my top player on the show this week. We are going over the 49 in the Green Bay Packer Minnesota Viking game. I promise you guys, even with Thanksgiving here next week, I will return with a full show next week. Also, remember to subscribe and like. Appreciation is always appreciated. The more you like, the more I win, and we all collect. Pick up the gift. Link in the description below. Listen, by far my best-selling package. All sports, all plays from now until January 1st. That's right, all sports, all plays from the day of purchase until January 4th. So you get the NFL, you get college football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, all private plays included in that, just $349. Link in the description below. I run that package out every year around this time. It helps everybody with a little holiday shopping. All right, that's it for me this week. I will see you guys back here with NFL Week 12 next week. Even with Thanksgiving, it's going to be a full show. Maybe I'll just do the entire slate next week. Well, we'll see what happens. But anyway, a very special happy Thanksgiving to you, the listeners. Eat a lot, drink even more. See you guys back here next week. But until then, remember that with your heads, not above it.
Day, week, month, and season packages available on whylose.com. That's the letter Y, LOSE.com.